Hi, all chess goodies, and welcome to day 19 of my journey to top 100 in the world. Yesterday, I played only one game, but I got a really nice win, so I climbed back to top 2000. It's not 100 yet, but hopefully it might be the start. We'll find out today. But yeah, definitely if you haven't seen yesterday's day or the day 18, I recommend that one. It is the best day so far. There's only one game, but it's really worth it. So yeah, I recommend watching that. But that's for it. And let's play some games today as well. Maybe one, maybe two, maybe three. We'll see. I think the most I've played so far in one day was four, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. So okay, black pieces. I'll stick with e5 and then knight c6. But I was thinking about it, and I will put a poll to my community or to community section in my YouTube channel, where you will be able to vote which openings do you want to see on the stream or in this series to be played. Because I basically know like most of the openings that exist and make some sense. I do know. I at least know about them and how to play them. Like the very, very main line somehow. I'm not an opening expert on everything, definitely not. So don't expect me to know the theory that deeply, but I think I can play most of the openings, so yeah, expect me to do so you'll be able to vote. But okay, how is this game going so far? I would say it's pretty good. It's pretty good, except for this weak diagonal that you quite have to give up. But it's fine because there are no knight jumps, which are pretty scary. But now after h6, it's no longer the option. But I guess that my opponent will even plan to castle long. I should have played king h8 much sooner, probably, because it's just a prophylactic move. Because I want to see where my opponent will put the king. And king h8 will definitely be useful. But yeah, actually, that idea is being executed right now. So this might be the time to develop this bishop. Or maybe take on e4. Yeah, I think that I want to do that first. And only then develop the bishop to e6. Now I will expect g4 and long castles. So it will be pretty interesting race because we both should be quite fast. And my opponent actually realizes it and just drops the bishop back to c2 before the race even starts. But I'll started with b5 anyway. Just maybe scare my opponent a bit. And now like rook b8 looks reasonable. Even though true is that okay, now the knight moves back. So okay, it seems like my opponent is doing everything he can to castle long and be safe there. I'll go for this knight a5, c5 idea. This knight is maneuvering to center, where it will be pretty strong. And this knight is maneuvering to g6. Okay, a lot of maneuvers here. But this is a serious thing. Gonna have to watch out for that. And also, the knight will come to f5, but I cannot do much with it. So I'll just cover the e6 square with the queen. The queen e8. And yeah, there it is. Knight comes to f5. So I don't think it's actually worth giving up the bishop, because the other knight will just land there. But I might try to play d5 instead. But maybe first it would be a good decision to put this knight back to c6, where it is just more active and better placed than on the edge of the board. And okay, actually short castle comes in. So it will not be as easy to push that cheap pawn. But still, these knights are really ruling the board at the moment, I would say, sort of. So I can play c4, b4, breakthroughs. Like c4 is not really a breakthrough, it just chases away the bishop and claims space. But d5 should be a thing. And yes, I'll get an isolated e-pawn, which will be pretty interesting, and I already got one in one of my recent games, and I don't think it went really well, because most of my recent games didn't go well. But here, I mean, okay, there we see the capture. It is actually true that it was quite risky as I'm looking at it, because now these bishops will truly open up. And I might have misevaluated this because of these bishops combined with the knight. They're looking pretty scary, but now I see one important thing that might go in my way pretty nicely, and that is the fact that I don't have to take the knight on d4, I can take the knight on f5, and that knight at the moment is much more dangerous. And also we might get a pair of bishops, and since currently my king is in more danger, it should be good to do so. Queen e4, that move quite makes sense. Just centralize the queen. And then the knight is really far away from chasing it away, so that's one thing to know about. Now the question is, do I wanna move away with the rook or play queen f7? It would pressure the knight. The knight can capture the bishop at any moment, but I don't think my opponent really wants that. But if there's like g4, rook has f3, king g2. No, I don't like that. I think I gotta move it back. And it will be all the way to f8. There, it's gonna be the safest square. But believe it or not, I'm actually dropping a pawn. Yes, there it is. Wow. Such an easy thing. Definitely I can play on, but it's not what I wanted. I can get the rook back to f5. So yeah, I should be more active here for that pawn that I'm down. Also, f-file is open for the rook as well. So like it would not have to be that bad, Now I'll play queen f7 and really try to pressure the f2 pawn. Okay, so now this knight is on the attack. But I actually have quite some options that look interesting. Like d5 or g6. d5 would be great in general, but here for some reason I like knight g6 more. And knight on f4 would be a pretty nice piece. But there's the bishop. And okay, there it is. So my opponent wants a queen trade, and there isn't a way to avoid it. So I'll at least try to get some tempes in against the bishop, even though the bishop will go to e3, and it seems like it's gonna be just fight for a draw. Yeah, it feels that way. Now I'll push pawn to c4. Okay, there is the rook. Now it depends whether I want to double up or not. I don't want to trade rooks if not necessary. I'll just play rook e8. Oh, come on, there's this problem. And this might be actually pretty bad. Okay, there's still rook f6. Even though I don't like that move. But it's the only way to defend, and it will actually drop the h6 pawn. Yeah, that was really careless. This was not a hard thing to see. And okay, trade of the rooks would have been better than this indeed. I can try to go active. It might be the right way to go. Yeah, I'll try active counterplay. Because I'm dropping a pawn anyway, even after that rook f6. The pawn on h6 would hang. So I'll try to go for that d3 square, and then maybe b2 pawn, who knows. Oh wow. So okay, bishop comes here, and it sets up rook takes h6. Sets up that thing. But now I think I can play rook f6, can I? Rook f6 takes rook e1. No, that's impossible because of check, and that might be the necessary tempi. So I'll play that. I actually wanna trade these two pieces. That would be great because in rook game, I should have much more chances. Now the fact that rook e1 is impossible is really the thing that goes in my way in this position. If rook e1, then I'm just lost, I think. If there wouldn't be this check. Okay, this happens. I don't think I really care. I'll just bring the king closer. And rook e1 still not possible. So ideal would be to get the king to f7. Okay, rook activates that way. I'll just go up and try to defend a lot of pawns. Even though active counterplay would be much better. But it's not so easy to find one. Both of these pawns are on light squares, so they should be easier to defend. But now it actually might be pretty hard to defend that. Maybe knight c6. Yeah, knight c6 seems like the only way. And if I can get that trade, yeah, that I cannot. That was quite predictable. Don't wanna push that. Maybe h5. That's not so easy to judge. Which moves do I want to get in? But now I allow this. Yep, that's not great. I'll try to sneak in with the king and maybe get something there. Okay. This comes. So what can I do? I cannot defend that pawn. I have to drop back this way. And now I'm screwed. So okay, after that, yesterday's one game that was a really nice. It was a really nice game. Already now there comes the big reality check that it's gonna be hard. That's it basically now. Rook takes. I'll just resign this. And okay, try to play one more. Let's see what comes out of that. Maybe play pawn to c4 now. I don't even remember which openings I used when. Get f5 in. f5, e5. Okay. So what do I play against that? I could play pawn to e4. So now I have a weakness on d4. But it should be fine. And maybe I can just take the pawn on f5. And this might be quite an interesting reversed king's gambit. But it should be easier to handle for me. Because I have a control over the d5. So if d6, then it would shut down that bishop. Yeah, so my opponent develops first. But I most definitely can come with the knight to d5 and attack bishop like that. And I'm wondering if knight takes, can I give this queen h5 check before recapturing the knight back? Because if the king moves, then yes, definitely, I would go for that. So the only thing would be, what if g6? Yeah, and there it is. I don't have to calculate it, actually. So do I want to take the bishop? Maybe it would most certainly would not be bad. Yeah, I'll just go for that, claiming the bishop pair. I'm already up a pawn for the moment. It can be one back if I'm careless. But at the moment, I'm just up a pawn. Chase that knight away. And now play pawn to d3. Is that good? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we see a castle. So do I want to go for that pawn to g4? Yes, I do. We are up for a crazy game where I'll have a weak king for that extra pawn. But I can think of castling kingside. I can. Or just, I'll play h3 to get a bigger protection over that g4 pawn. Or maybe now I'm calculating pawn to g5. What happens then? Because that's pretty interesting. With that, I can even take that pawn probably. And I mean, it would be pretty crazy. And if knight to e8, then what's there? Not much actually. I'll just play pawn to h3. Looks fine enough. And if there's this queen trade, I don't think it would be that bad. So yeah, I think it would be just quite fine. So now, can I play bishop g7? Not g7, g2. I get this wrong sometimes. But bishop e3 looks good. Yeah, it does. Case of e4, I have pawn to d4. And in case of pawn to d4 followed by pawn to e4, it's gonna be worse. I can go for that pain and give up the bishop back maybe to eliminate an attacking piece. So, okay, this doesn't look too good. And to be honest, let's play knight e2. Yeah, I can keep this pin for a bit longer. Now, if I can get bishop g2 and short castle, then I might be fine. Then I might be pretty okay. It's only 2 moves, but only 2 moves is usually quite a lot in such positions. Now I'm facing with the threat of knight to f3 checkmate. And also knight to d3 would be pretty bad. Okay, this move is really strong. And now, how do I defend? Basically, the only way to defend against both is to go back with the knight to g1, but that's too ridiculous. But honestly, I might even go for it. Even though, no, there's no way, just pawn takes d3 and it's lost anyway. It's hard to admit every single game that I made the mistake somewhere and it just went wrong. So bishop g2, knight check. I can go to f1 and play on somehow. But the worst thing will be e takes d3, I wanted to say. But okay, there's the knight takes d3. So there are these pretty scary pawns, but I think that with e takes d3 I would lose the knight. There would simply be no way to save it, I think. And okay, I can win this pawn, right? Yes, I can. So okay, I managed to trade queens. Okay, I lost another pawn here. So I'm down a pawn for the moment, but I think that the position was worse than that. rook to c1. So we might get another trade of pawns. And then there would be this pretty 2 on 0 on the queen side. But I would have a really active rook, nice knight. Only thing would be that I would like to play king e2 and get last rook into the game. And if I can get that soon enough, might actually have some counterplay. In that position, before bishop to g2, I just thought I'm lost. And I probably was with that e takes d3, I think. But thanks to that knight takes d3, which the human eye looked more natural at the first glance. It definitely did. But now it feels I'm back in game. Still on the back foot, but I can fight and I might have some winning chances as well. And what do you do about the knight? You can go back, but then I can take the pawn anyway and get a nice active rook. And like to defend the knight, there is only way in this pawn to b5, but in that case, I might play pawn to a4. Maybe the one thing that my opponent was thinking about was rook c3 actually. That might look more interesting and it might actually be a draw. Is it? No, it's probably not because of the counterplay on that knight. Though there is like bishop to e3, pawn to c5, not really good. There is knight d5. Actually, there's knight b1, rook b3. This square's got it, so I think this would be the only counterplay. No, I just gotta take that pawn. That feels so much safer. But actually, now I might be able to go back. Though I like my active rook, I do. But there would still be that threat. Though maybe not. I'll start with king to the e2. The king does a square where the king belongs. Okay, bishop a6, sort of missed that. Cannot go to e3. Okay, so this simple miss was not so fortunate. Okay, it's not as good as it seemed to be. Because believe it or not, I'll go back to e1. And that's bad in that case. So it would have been even better to hide on h2 to get that rook into the game, or maybe to go for that plan of rook coming back to c3. And now suddenly I don't like my position again. 2 moves ago, in this position, rook c3, or maybe even that king g1, king h2, and I might have nice chances, but right now, after I gave up 2 moves, and the king is even in a worse position than it was before, yeah, I don't like it. So my opponent might be trying to trap the rook. Something like this next. But I'll trade that thing now. And play king d2. Hoping to get the other rook involved again. And I've actually accomplished it. So again, I start to quite like my position, even though I'm down a pawn. But the pawns are here, so if they start rolling, then it will be bad. But actually here I have more pawns than my opponent. Well, is the king. This knight is still misplaced. King can come to e3 now. But after pawn to b5 is not so clear, but I don't have to rush with that. Maybe only concern would be rook d8. Attacking this knight and pinning it to the king. In that case, I might want to play king e3. And what if I just attack the knight? What if I just do the simplest thing? I attack the knight this way. If rook d8, I have king e3. And yeah. Oh, I thought I got. Yeah, there's this. There. Okay, so opponent doesn't see it, so I got 2 pieces for the rook, but my opponent is up a pawn. Even though that's not gonna last long. But he's got these really dangerous pawns. But I can actually grab a rook. I can do that. And in that case, I might be in time to stop the pawns. I'll do it with the knight. And then try to win the other pawns. I got king close. I can even block because the knight would be able to hold both pawns, and I have much more active king. So my opponent will go to a5, in which case I'll just come closer with the king. At least that's what I will try to do. The rook is there perfectly placed, defending the h3 pawn, while attacking the b5 pawn. Which I don't think my opponent wants to lose, so suddenly I was able to turn around that game that I said twice that I really don't like my position. But yeah, my opponent definitely helped me there. Not playing the most accurate moves in the objectively winning positions, where I was saying that I don't like it. And also, I might come back to the tactic afterwards, but it was not actually necessary to give up the 2 pieces for the rook. Yeah, it was not necessary. So okay, let me see. How will this game conclude? I would very much like to convert this. And it actually seems quite likely I will be able to. I'm pretty confident, but as always, anything can happen. If the rook comes there to try to chase away that knight, I might drop the rook back to attack the b2 pawn. Oh wow, okay, so this was actually a pretty clever way that I missed. And now, oh wow, what have I done? What have I done? Okay, I gotta go back and then play, yeah, rook to b2. I should be able to win that pawn. but I definitely had better positions. And I did not have to go into this. And it's suddenly a draw. Oh, come on, rook to b2 should have been played instead of that king advancement to c5. That was too ambitious, but okay. My opponent calculates. And how is this looking? Don't tell me that I'm winning again. And I'm winning because of the fact that this is with check. Oh, come on. Now I play miscalculates, and okay, this is definitely the game of the series that has the most turnarounds. Like 100%. Okay, this should be pretty simple win now. There is finally nothing to talk about. And it is pretty convertible even with the limited time. Oh, come on. Don't know why I did that. I'll do this and give that check afterwards, and then I'll play this king f1 only move, and this checkmate. Oh wow, cannot believe it. Cannot believe this game. Really cannot believe this game. But yeah, let's go back. So here, actually, even without that, I might have gone for rook b2. Rook on b2 was better placed rook. Would have been better placed rook. I think, but I'll just quickly go back to this point where my opponent decides to give up the 2 pieces, but rook takes d4 was possible because of this fork afterwards that would win the exchange back. So it was even best to just take the knight, and the rook would go back. And engine even says that it is holdable, probably because of the fact that I can take back, but it would not lose material for black. But okay, 2 games. Just a loss in the first game, and then this really I mean, I don't know, this game was just so crazy. It had so many turnarounds. So yeah, I'll end it with this game today. 1 loss, 1 win in the current state. I think I gotta have to take it. Well, I'll have to. There is nothing else I can do. So yeah, that's for today, and see you tomorrow.